Hi, you guys. You guys doing okay? Yeah. Okay. A really great artist that I work with in Brooklyn, Amy Leone, always tells me, and every person that's always in the room at her performances, you can manifest something and you're one breath away from manifesting the next step of your life. So if you guys don't mind, not to make this a participation scenario, but I'd love it, if we could all just take just a second and really know where we're at. We're all here together, and community is so powerful. I'm gonna act a little casually and just talk to you guys on this couch because that's who I am, and I think we best connect with each other when we're just being our true authentic self. So if you guys wouldn't mind just breathing in with me, and we're gonna exhale and just think of anything, any true intention or any manifestation that you would really have just been sitting on that's kind of maybe eating away at you, or you feel like you haven't had that opportunity today, yesterday, in the last month, in the last year, in 10 years to really activate it. We're gonna activate it today if y'all are all right with that. Everybody cool? Okay, cool. So on the count of 3, we'll just inhale, and then we'll exhale on the count of 3 as well. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Well, I appreciate you guys for being here. I am more than grateful to be here from New York and be on this panel. If you guys are around tonight, I'm just gonna upfront preface because I cannot wait. Jay Horde is an amazing Brooklyn artist, singer-songwriter, Grammy winner. He's gonna be here tonight with his family from 7 to 9 doing an after-hours special of just beautiful gospel soul roots music. This is an extension of what I do at National Sawdust in Brooklyn, but also this is just an extension of family to me. Jonathan is an incredible artist. We went to Berklee College of Music together. I've been knowing him for quite some time, and to be in a festival scenario that's really based around this interconnection of faiths and sciences, when I got approached to help curate a night of music, it was a no-brainer for me. Going back to the points that everyone's talking about, this act of regeneration and rejuvenation and understanding change and how we really connect with people to make that happen. For me, in my work at Sawdust, National Sawdust is, many of you probably don't know, but it's a brand new, a little under 5 years in the making, nonprofit music venue. Kind of an arts incubator as well, but a lot of our work there is truly mission-based to support discovery of local artists and this new resurgence of new music outside of genres at all. It could be anything from classical to new Baroque to hip-hop, spoken word, R&B, rock and roll, anything. But the most beauty about this venue is that it's artist-led. All of us on staff are artists. And I think that really helps us connect to the amount of change that we want to have in the world through music and through this new community of musicians and new community of next generations, as I was talking to Alice about, really activating the power of music and how big of an impact it can have on everyone, from teachers to children to siblings to elders. Anybody really can be truly regenerated and rejuvenated through music. When I started at National Sawdust, I started at the bottom. I had just moved from Los Angeles. I'd just gotten out of Berklee 5 years prior to that, working at Live Nation, doing a lot of the more managerial things, but also writing in a couple bands at that time. When I moved to New York, Brooklyn was a breeding ground for me. It was really, truly the first place that I had stepped into. I'm from a very small town in Southern Virginia, a very conservative, more often than not racist, kind of inkling into this small town US society. I had a beautiful family that was really enriched in music my entire life. My mother and father would play Southern rock and blues in my household starting at 5 a.m. to when we went to sleep. It was just part of what we did. It was part of activating me as a child and understanding, I think, now as a 31-year-old, I can really think back and know that, wow, they were really changing me without knowing that they were changing me, which is so incredible, in such a pure and honest and communicative way. And I really, truly am grateful for that. I had never seen that kind of understanding and compassion and elevation of future generations until I got to Brooklyn. I moved into a house with three female musicians, including myself, four. A saxophone player, an MC, a rapper, and then a vibraphone player. We used to host jam sessions every night, every weekend at our house, and we thought it was a little underplayed until we did one and opened it up to the public and 300 people showed up. And it became a huge party, a huge rager. We had a great time, but that wasn't the point. I think we were more often than not overwhelmed with how much the community needed that, how much the community needed not only musicians, but female musicians to be at this other elevation of understanding. You know, I love everybody, but there is something beautiful about a female and how they connect with other individuals, and how they have this innate understanding of compassion within themselves. You add music to that, it's a whole other level. So within my work there, you know, I really started just throwing these pop-up events. Found a job on Craigslist, no name, new music venue coming to town. We're hosting these interviews at a coffee shop. The venue wasn't even done yet. It was still on the groundworks. And I met with another set of three young ladies that ended up being around my age at the time. Very, very inspiring, but it was a very casual interview when they started talking about the mission of the programming at Sawdust and how it was really supposed to regenerate some kind of resurgence within this local community. You know, when people think about New York and Brooklyn, you know, I think from a small town standpoint, it can be like a little overwhelming. But when you're really in an environment where everyone is really uplifting each other, regardless of race, color, creed, gender, any kind of norm, you have to really, you know, really activate that within yourself. So for me, I started at Sawdust, I started as an usher, I started working in box office just to be around music, just to be around shows again, even though I had really truly connected with a lot of different musicians in college. A lot of them were returning to Brooklyn at that time. So, you know, for us, and for me, being in the box office every day at this venue that began as a very classical new music venue, I started taking notes and I started realizing that there was a lot more change that needed to come from the local community that we were actually living in than just one sector of music. You know, one sector of music is only telling one sector of the story. And in 2017, you know, I just thought that we needed to tell all stories. So I started this music series called The Revolution, and it's pretty much just that. It's a local revolution of young artists that get it, that understand change, that understand how to regenerate innately. You know, they don't need to be taught, it comes to them naturally. And this can come from all facets, I think, of creativity. Even if you're not an artist, you know, from being a producer of events, putting shows on, actually supporting artists. That can be a little bit harder sometimes than actually being an artist. Being able to tap into what they truly need, not just on a physical level, but on an artistic, creative level, on a soul level, really. So I started really trying to tap into these other people in my life, these musicians that I had come in contact with, that I understood were on the brink of something different, that understood that they weren't afraid of change, they weren't afraid of activating that, even if it was going to be a hard road, that they were open to it. You know, so I started curating these multiple band bills. Currently, I'm on my 38th volume, so it's been about a little over 3.5 years. I just had my 3-year anniversary a couple months ago. And basically thank you. Yeah. But it started really just one bill, 3 different bands. I want to showcase 3 different genres, and I want them to be different people. I don't want to curate 3 rock and roll bands that all look the same, that do the same thing. I wanted different people to mingle and almost rejuvenate and regenerate and change within just a 2-hour period. I wanted people to activate each other and be a part of the conversation in a creative way. So I started booking a jazz ensemble with a solo singer-songwriter with a hip-hop MC from the Bronx, or a classical violinist with an electronic lute player that's going to sing some and play a violin with a 18 player brass band. Because a lot of conversations come, and I know that we all know this, we were just sitting in a green room together ourselves, when you're sitting there right before the moments of the big change happens. When people take the stage, when people are walking up, they're already setting that intention, and you're already a part of that process without even knowing it. And I think we're all like, there are a couple of moments on stage, that moment where the music's about to begin and you're like, what's gonna happen? This is exciting. Even to the point where a band's on stage, this is my mom's favorite moment of life, when the bandmates start talking to each other and nodding like, that was dope, that was good. Like these moments where you're connecting as humans, and even from outside of the curating standpoint, from being an artist and really a composer, a songwriter. How do we activate each other within those kind of patterns? How do we commit to the change that needs to happen within these songs that we're creating? And being touched by that, being open to feedback from our community. So I just continued that journey. I continued that with the programming team at Sawdust, and Jonathan Horde, who you'll see tonight, is an extension of that, an artist that really gets change within the community, an artist that really activates what we know to be this pure understanding of love, of heartfelt compassion, of being okay to cry behind a microphone, to let everybody know that you're hurting, that we're not okay, and to stand in that is pretty powerful. For us to be vulnerable as a community, for us to uplift each other, that's just the key right there. I do a lot of management for artists and for a lot of my best friends, because I really do believe that not only is there power in numbers, but there's power in community, there's power in knowing someone really well and supporting them. I never like to say I'm a manager, I'm a supporter of artists, period. I'm here to help. I'm here to facilitate, I'm here to put the dots together. If you don't want to answer an email, I love email. I'm happy to do it, If you don't understand, okay, great, I have this 2-hour set that I need to do. I know what I'm gonna do for 40 minutes, but I don't really know how to activate or communicate or connect with the audience after this point. I can help facilitate that. Who else can we put on the bill that can reactivate you again, who can regenerate, a new conversation that still needs to be had? And these are all just extensions of that process, from being a producer, a curator, a composer, just a creative in general, and really setting that intention for yourself. Outside of being just an artist, I think we're all, as Alita was saying, I think we're all creative in some way. And I think it's our duty, especially right now, to support future generations and being okay to create again, be okay to have that voice in the community, be okay to expand, and really live out their dreams, regardless of how uncomfortable it makes everyone feel, and it might not be the norm, but the norm's not that fun. So I'm okay with not being the norm. I'm okay with that. Just the last bit, I really challenge myself every day to, and we were just talking about this last night, which I appreciated the both of you saying earlier, is that having this overarching thing that I have to do this alone, that I have to bear this weight, alone. And I think the more people that we empower artistically, the more that we won't feel like that anymore. And that's really my purpose here. And that's really, I think, National Sawdust's purpose. I think tonight you'll see that's Jonathan Horde's purpose. It's his family's purpose. And I really hope that we can continue to highlight that purpose within a lot of different aspects of the creative process. So thank you.
I think you'll probably get a resounding affirmative from most folks here that the norm is not working. And even this gathering itself is probably pretty countercultural and radical. But we at the festival are certainly committed to celebrating the arts community, to celebrating creativity, to being vulnerable, to being present, to building community, to all of the things that you talked about. And I saw a lot of smiles and nodding head from Toby, so I want to give her a minute to reflect.
I just love what you're doing, and I just want to hold up props. You said you're 31, which to me seems like you're so far ahead already. Like you're so far down this road, and thank you for doing that. And this is, we are passing to a generation of creative people who are recreating our world and regenerating our world in new ways that are just so powerful, and I just so appreciate what you're doing. Thank you
so much. That really means a lot to me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I was struck. You kept saying change.
Yeah.
Change, and I wanted to hear what was changing, and then you answered, love, in all forms.
Yep.
And permission.
Yep.
To be in all ways.
Totally.
And I thought that was beautiful.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I just love how you're, I feel like often we think about music and art as being something that if you're either a platinum record holder or you're one of us who just listens.
Yeah.
And I just love the way you've brought music back to the personal and the community and anybody, the way you've curated it so that you don't have to look a particular way or play a particular instrument. You can create and just be, and that's part of the community. I just love that.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, I'm glad it comes across.
Yes, it does.
Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
So tonight will be unexpected,
Yes.
maybe a little uncomfortable, and a big celebration, right?
It'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Definitely
So
make it out.
Don't miss that.